A wave of sound that travels from one end to another, from the creator to the listener, from the one who produces it to the one who receives it, is music. Till now, we have been delving into one side of this ocean, which is the perspective of a musician, or the feelings and experiences of an artist. Many a times I have come across people referring to a certain kind of music or song or maybe even a performance, which, according to them, transported them to another world. Not all kinds of music can be equally healing in nature, I believe, and people alter their playlists now and then according to their moods, tastes, and needs of the present moment. People in medicine also acknowledge the power of music therapy, and it is practiced in many cases. So the bottom line is that music affects its audiences in a range of ways, and they unconsciously derive the benefits of it. The temperament of the listener also sometimes decides what he or she will enjoy. For example, my pulse rate goes up if I listen to forms like acid rock, heavy metal, which is an aggressive style of rock music. With due respect to these styles, I think it is super important to choose, mix and blend what we like and what is good for our health. The decibel and amount of exposure also matters. For example, I would feel sick even if somebody plays my most favorite song also at the maximum volume. They can, again and again. The amount of exposure, volume, nature of the music being heard are some of the factors that affect the person consuming it. Before moving towards the details, one thing is for sure, and that is, music is as much mine as it is yours, and the yogic effect is not experienced solely by the artist. Isn't it great? Its benefits are on the verge of spreading. All you need to do is open your ears and press the play button. Here you are at Chapter 9, Music for All. Music that brings people to a restful state is healing for the mind and body. Why babies are put to sleep by lullabies, or what we call lori in India. The innumerable benefits are also backed by science. Information hunters or seekers maybe know already secretion of which hormones induce happiness and change in mood patterns, and which do the opposite to us. And I hate to repeat Google knowledge. It's pointless. This search engine will tell you all about the effects of endorphins, serotonin, and dopamine on the brain, and their connection with listening to music and music listeners. In this chapter, I want to see the notes as frequencies. For a person who has no knowledge of the grammar of music and these terminologies, which musicians are aware of, for that person, notes are simply sound frequencies. Here comes the idea of what is the effect each frequency has on our ears. These, when played together, or precisely when 3, 4 or 5 of them are played together, they may or may not be in harmony with each other. When jointly they are able to produce a sound that makes sense, we call that collection a chord. The chord progression of a song or behind the main melody is made up of a set of chords which become the bed of the soundtrack. Major chords involve mostly Shuddh Swaras and minor chords involve mostly Komal Swaras. Chords have many other types and categories besides these two, and I am yet to learn this subject in detail. But I am not unaware of the effect each one or a combination of them in a certain sequence can have. After all, a musician is also a listener. And sharpening the listening skills is a part of a good musician's routine. Since I came to the topic eventually of the effect of different frequencies, I have to share that I have mostly associated major chords and Shuddh Swaras with happiness and joy when it comes to moods, and minor chords or Komal Swaras with mystery, intensity, romance, sadness. Fear and thrill strikes when a chord involves Tivra Swar with other Komal Swars. This does not hold true for all songs, and secondly, this differs from one listener to another. What emotion a creation conveys as a whole sticks with us. I'm not grouping moods with frequencies, as music is not math. Never. Based on my response to chords and melodic phrases, I made 3 melodies, visualizing 3 different situations. A teenage girl humming to put her ill grandfather to sleep. Piece number 1. B. Naughty twins in a playful mood start fighting over a toy and finally patch up. Piece number 2. C. A herd of deer sensed the presence of Royal Bengal tiger close by and starts running. For one, it is a run for life, and for the other, it's a chase for food. But the aim for both is survival. Piece number 3. These were my momentary perceptions and representations of peace, joy, and fear, respectively. I experimented and sang the pieces in a new tempo to discover how speed too determines the impact on the listener. I changed the original rhythm cycle also to see its impact, though coupled with the same melodies. A. For the first piece, I chose a 3-beat cycle and changed it into waltz, and the situation or the visuals can also change into, say, a ballroom dance scene of a young couple? B. The second one has been slowed down a bit, and along with a tempo change, a jazzy swing has been added. This may depict a black lady singing in a street concert. C. The last piece, which represented fear first time, will now represent suspense and mystery. Rhythm cycle changes from 4 to 7 beats, and tempo is also brought down to build up the scene gradually. These were dependent on the effects they had on me. If a proper survey is conducted, we shall know how interpretations are not identical. And thus, it is so important to socialize and sometimes in order to check on the trends and where the audience is heading. Koi humdam na raha, koi sahara na raha. Let's come to some exceptions and magic of the genius minds. The song mentioned just now comprises of Shuddh Swaras predominantly, but the melody is so well blended with the intense lyrics that it is bound to make an attentive listener teary-eyed. Something on the other hand is worth remembering, like the exuberant Zindagi ek safar hai suhana, yahan kal kya ho kisne jana. This has komal swars and yet gives a light-hearted feeling. This proves that there is no law in music that holds true everywhere in case of all songs. Number 1, what is being expressed? Number 2, through which medium? This instrument can be a voice or anything that can be played. In case of a song, lyric also makes a difference in perceptions. But imagine solely a melody being voiced or played. Then the texture of that medium will also act as a major influencer. Tagore songs have tons of versions, but when I hear Debobroto Bishwas, the way he emotes makes me want to go back to his renditions. Although the same songs have been voiced by several other artists. The same happened with me when I heard Celine Dion singing Oh Holy Night. These were instances where the words played a vital role in moving the listener. If I come to instruments, I can take up 2 Indian classical instruments, Sitar and Sarod. Sitar's tone, although not coarse but has a bright edge to it. I find it very appropriate when I think of phrases with swift movements, while Sarod has a deeper sound, and in different octaves it can produce a layered tone. If I take into consideration only the sounds, isolating them from what is being played, Sitar means colors, joy, cheerfulness, and Sarod on the other hand sets a pensive mood, reflecting sweet pain. If a former is Shringar Ras, the latter can be Viraha. This was based again on the feel both the instruments give me and hence an individual interpretation. It can't be learnt or applied as a thumb rule. Coming to another factor, which is what is being expressed, we can take into account some forms and styles and how they become a frontline influencer for the audience. Even the laziest person will dance to jailhouse rock. They have to. These genres of music are partnered with some unique dance styles, which is why they became so legendary. When you listen to hip-hop, I'm sure you cannot imagine it without the dance style. Both are incomplete without each other. Rhythm and beats, here I come. They also affect us largely in dance music and in case of other styles of music also. In fact, they can change the perception if tweaked a bit. My experiments in this chapter are a proof of how change in rhythm, speed, cycle, and division can make a relaxed melody pacey, a sad one catchy, and vice versa. Rhythm is a powerful force of nature and can create magic individually also. A tabla recital is an example, when melody is just accompanying. If you watch tap dance, you'll feel solely how the beats get shaped by the performers through their feet movements. By breaking down music, we understood how each ingredient can excel when left alone to fly solo. We as listeners now shall decide what will give us the maximum pleasure and hopefully strike a balance between what we enjoy and what is good for us in the long run. In emotional intelligence, EI, people can spot both the comfortable and disturbing emotions, and that awareness helps them lessen conflict. In that case, we can choose our feelings and no matter what our surroundings radiate. If I say that the knowledge of music and its benefits is musical intelligence, then somebody having this knowledge will understand, should know what sounds have long-lasting positive effects on our brains and bodies. He or she will choose wisely if he or she has MI or musical intelligence.